Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox, where we talk about all things Xbox, new and old. And on today's agenda is a review of Fuzion Frenzy. Released in North America November 15th, 2001 as a launch title for the original Xbox, published in-house by Microsoft Game Studios and developed by Blitz Games, who actually worked on a ton of licensed games, but is most notable, at least in my gaming history, for making the great game Glover on the Nintendo 64. Fuzion Frenzy was an attempt by Xbox to develop a party game that would work well on their Xbox system. Something that could bring a group around like your family and enjoy some party game fun. Many people will compare this to Mario Party, and rightfully so. It is a mini-game collection where you hop from game to game, and winning or losing those games determine your spot in the ranking with everybody else. Where it differs though is that there is no game board. You get a city view and move sector to sector, doing loosely themed minigames, and that's really it. It's all minigame centered. Another game that I would compare it to is Power Stone on the Sega Dreamcast, which was a 3D arena fighting game, and that's what a lot of the minigames here are. They're just kind of a 3D arena that you hit and collect orbs in. It definitely has some heavy inspiration from that franchise. So, to break it down, there are only a few game modes here. One of them is jumping from sector to sector, and the other one is just playing mini-games individually. There is not a lot on offer here. You don't even unlock mini-games or new characters. Once you boot this game up, what you see is what you get. And unfortunately, it's a pretty forgettable game overall, and it kind of just repeats itself constantly. As an aside, before I really go into this, I am really disappointed because I always wanted to own this game as a kid. See, one of my favorite things about the original Xbox was that their games would include demos on them, usually from first-party software. And that's where I discovered so many new games, just by exploring the demos on full games. I won't go too deep into it because I want to do a video on how incredible it was that Microsoft did this, but on the Halo 1 disc was a demo for Fuzion Frenzy. I hopped into this one just to test it out, and I played so much of just this demo. Like, it only had a few mini-games, but I remember sitting around with my family playing the minigame titled Sumo. It's a minigame where you just are in a ball cage and you smack each other off of a circular arena. It's the best minigame here, and I really loved it then. And with those memories and everything, I wanted to play the full game. But as a kid, I was never able to find it. I usually bought my game secondhand, and it wasn't anywhere that I saw. And now it's 20 years later, and as an adult with money, I can waste it on whatever I want, and I can get this game quite easily. Unfortunately, all those years of built-up hype does not live up to it. See, I could be fine with a bare-bones party game because minigames are the best part of Mario Party. They're inventive in Mario Party and mostly different enough to really keep you wanting to replay them. Here in Fuzion Frenzy, I found myself running into the same minigames over and over, but only with a slight twist on them. There's multiple racing minigames where you just have different vehicles. They're fine, but the tracks are so simple and do nothing really creative, and you see the same track with the same vehicles. You're gonna get a lot of grab the token minigames, asking you to run around and grab tokens for points, and oh, you gotta watch out for attacks by your enemies. Very boring whenever this is all you're doing for most of the game. Heck, there's 3 rhythm games here, and they're only marginally different. There's 45 minigames here, and unfortunately, they decide to stick with the same thing for a good chunk of them. It sucks because there are some gems here. I really love the one where you run up a tower and you have to dodge obstacles the fastest. Feels like a proto-temple run in a way. As I said, Sumo is great. Heck, anything with these ball cages, they rock. They handle so well and they're so much fun. Tank minigames are fun. They control pretty well, but they do repeat quite a bit. And then they'll throw in a minigame where you are like in a sewer pipe driving against a waterfall and you have to dodge crates. See, that's one of the things about this game. The setting is so weird because it's all city-based and it's all very grimy. It's gross, and I think they were just trying to give the Xbox that edge, kind of an edgy party game that maybe a teenage or an adult audience would appreciate. But here it just doesn't feel like anything too interesting. It's not really nice to look at. It's definitely futuristic, and I would have appreciated them going full sci-fi with it, not doing tasks like going into the sewers or exterminating a bug infestation in the subway. It's not very interesting. The characters are even kind of bland. They kind of go for a Jet Set Radio vibe here, and they all have names, but I really just bogged them down to their colors that they're given of green, red, yellow, blue, orange, and pink. I hate to be this negative, so some points can definitely go into they do allow a custom soundtrack. Love when Xbox games do that. It controls well. I can say that. I never really had an issue with any of the controls. All the minigames worked well. They at least worked hard on that. And, you know what? As far as graphically goes, it looks pretty nice for an original Xbox game. It's not really going to wow you, but it's not ugly either. For a launch title, though, it has a little jank, but I can at least say that it has a nice, cohesive, cartoony style, and I think it holds up at least pretty well. I think I mainly dislike it for its lack of variety. Just need a little more of something different to keep me hooked. Of course, in a single-player experience, it's not going to be as fun. This game is really meant to be a party game. Playing with people is a bit better, but I have played this game with a group before, and I'm not going to lie, the group did get pretty tired of this game fast. So that should be a sign of what this game might be to a group of people. It's an interesting only for Xbox title, but it just isn't that fun, and a party game desperately needs to be fun. And on my ranked list, I am going to place it down there at number 13. It's not an awful game, so I'm not going to really put it in the ranks of dangerous hunts, but the lack of variety really killed this whole experience for me. But here's the thing, I know a lot of people grew up with this game and really enjoyed it, so if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below. I'd love to read it, see how you enjoyed it when you were younger. I want to hear some positivity about this game, because it's just my opinion, and I'm sure some of you really love this game. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and be sure to be on the lookout for more Xbox reviews here at Camp Xbox, and I'll see you next time.